My barbecue pulled pork nachos are super cheesy and loaded with tender pulled pork. To start, I'll make a spice rub. I'll get a tablespoon of paprika, a tablespoon of garlic powder, and a tablespoon of onion powder. And then a tablespoon of kosher salt, and then a little bit of sweetness with 2 teaspoons of brown sugar. I'll whisk this to combine, and now I'll grab my pork. I've got pork shoulder here that's been cut into pieces, and this is gonna get so tender and juicy. I'm gonna toss this with my spice rub now. Okay, my pork is coated in the spice rub, and now in my Dutch oven here, I'm gonna add a tablespoon of oil, and now I'll add my pork and sear it on all sides. I wanna get some nice brown color to lock in that flavor. Now while this browns, I'll grab my onion. I'll slice this up and throw this into the pot, and it'll add really nice sweetness. I'll stir it around, and I'm gonna let these soften. Okay, now the last thing that this needs is some chicken stock. And this chicken stock is gonna help the pork cook and give it so much flavor. Okay, and now I'll bring this to a boil. Okay, now that this is boiling, I'm gonna cover it up, and I'll stick it in the oven, and it's gonna braise at 300 degrees for 2.5 hours. All right, I'm gonna check on my pork. Oh, it smells so smoky and good. And I'm gonna get it out of the braising liquid, and then I'm gonna shred it. And then prep all of my toppings for the nachos. I've got sliced red onion, diced bell pepper, chopped pineapple, and sliced pepperoncini. Okay, now it's time to assemble. And making nachos is all about layering. I'm gonna start by layering half of my corn chips on the bottom of a skillet. I'll get one even layer here, and then I'm gonna layer on some of my pulled pork, but I'm first gonna mix it with some barbecue sauce. I'll mix this around, and now I'll scatter on half of my pulled pork. Good, even distribution. Now I'm gonna add some pepperoncini. And chopped pineapple will add great sweetness. Now my red pepper. These colors are so bright and beautiful. And my sliced red onion. All right, and I'll drizzle on a little more barbecue sauce. And then some mozzarella will melt and hold everything together. I'll finish this up with a little more barbecue sauce and the rest of my mozzarella. And now I'll stick this in the oven at 400 degrees for about 10 minutes until it's all melty and hot and gooey and good. Oh my goodness, these look and smell amazing.
I am going to make a lightened up version of nachos. So I've got 6 corn tortillas, and I just cut them into very small little wedges. And I'm gonna put them into a bowl, kind of break them apart, and then just spray them with olive oil cooking spray. This is the best way to kind of get a really light coating of oil on the tortillas. So after the oil, I'm gonna season the tortillas. It's ranch dressing mix, ranch seasoning.
Wow.
So then I have a well-oiled baking sheet, and I'll sprinkle the chips on the sheet and spread them out into a single layer. And these are gonna be baked because normal nachos are made with tortilla chips, which are unapologetically fried, and that's why they're so darn amazing. But that doesn't mean that these won't be amazing too. They'll just be kind of a different kind of amazing. Okay, so let's go put these in the oven, Alex. So I've got the oven on 425 degrees, and I'm gonna put these in for 10 minutes, and I'm gonna stir them halfway just to make sure they're getting evenly crisped. All right, Alex, look at the chips.
Wow, they look like real chips.
They do, and they taste like real chips covered in ranch seasoning, that is. So I let the chips cool slightly, and I'm gonna top them and turn them into nachos. So I've got some canned corn. I drained it really well so it wouldn't be very liquidy. These are basically just loaded nachos. You wanna make this for like a football watching party or just like a Wednesday night. Whatever's more appropriate.
Sounds more my speed.
Black beans, and I drained them and rinsed them and made sure to drain off most of the liquid. And now these nachos do have cheese because you basically can't make nachos without cheese, but not very much. For me, this is like a drop in the bucket of the amount of cheese I usually use for nachos, but it's pepper jack, which means it's a little bit more flavorful than a lot of cheeses. And it's really creamy, and if you don't just completely cover everything with cheese, you can celebrate the ingredients that are underneath. So I've also got some jarred jalapenos, and then these go back into the oven just long enough for the cheese to melt. So let's get them in there. Yum. Okay, that's not gonna take long, so let's go over here. And you've got to have some kind of salsa to serve with nachos. So I'm gonna make just a really simple avocado salsa. So I've got finely chopped tomatoes and finely chopped red onion.
Yum.
And then lots of lime juice. It reminds me, pico de gallo is something that I've got to start making more and more. I used to make it all the time. It used to be a condiment in our house.
Yeah, you used to make pico a lot.
All the time, and it just kind of fell off my radar. Poor lad. I'm sure he wakes up some nights thinking, where did the pico de gallo go? Little bit of cumin, a little bit of salt and pepper. And then what is something that all pico de gallo or salsa has to have?
Cilantro.
Cilantro, and a lot. Whenever I started kind of making salsa and pico de gallo, it took me a long time to realize you basically have to add as much cilantro as you have tomatoes and other ingredients. Okay, so in goes the cilantro. And then this is avocado salsa, so I'm gonna add some chopped avocado. It's just barely ripe, so it's not mushy and like fall apart guacamole avocado. Okay, so that's the salsa. I'll bet the cheese has melted on the nachos.
It's where the magic happens.
It sure enough is, Alex. Let's look. Oh, hi.
Yummy.
I mean, gosh. So you can serve these nachos just right on the sheet pan, which is what I'm gonna do, but you can also serve it with the salsa on the side, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna sprinkle the salsa all over the nachos. By no means am I saying you could eat a whole pan of these and consider it light, but these are definitely lighter than the normal nachos we see around these parts, let me tell you.
True. Mine would have probably like 4 times the cheese.
I know, exactly. You are your mother's daughter. Okay, lightened up nachos, guys. What do you think?
Looks so good.
So good.
I am going to make these for the next big game on TV. I'm gonna make these next week. I'm gonna eat these now. And I am not ashamed. Good.
This right here is some Italian turkey sausage and some ground beef. Just hit it with a little bit of onion, and this is gonna be going for these great GUY-Talian nachos. Let the meat kind of cook down, get nice and brown, a little crisp to it. Just gonna hit a pinch of some garlic. I'm not worried about the garlic burning right now because there's so much moisture in the pan. I'm gonna let this turn the heat down a bit. These are gonna be topped on top of some great Italian nachos. And speaking of great Italian nachos, I need to work on the salsa for that. Capers and peppadews. You know, I love the peppadew. And this kind of sweet, a little bit of heat, but it's gonna be a great basis for this. So some tomatoes, some onions, all gonna go together to make this great Italian salsa. Go ahead and dice these up. Peppadews in the bowl. And to really give this Italian salsa its own little kick, just a touch of that great peppadew liquor that's in there. Next up, tomatoes. A lot of tomatoes, but it is a salsa. chop those capers up so they're not little briny buds that scare somebody when they get a bite. Next, red onion. And now some parsley. Parsley's done. Okay. A lot of chopping here on Big Bite, I know, but it always makes it worth it. And this going on top of the nachos is gonna be dynamite. Okay, a little more garlic, some salt, fresh cracked pepper, and let's give this a little mix. And a little olive oil on top of that. Not too much, but wow, look at that. Now I'm gonna get into doing some of the, well, it looks like some chips for the nachos here. These are wonton skins. So drop them into the oil, separating them a little bit. Don't wanna put 2 or 3 at the same time. Let's get a few of those in. It's the layers that really make this work. You know, it's not just put down a bunch of chips and clump everything on top. Take the time, stack the chips nicely, get the meat on there evenly, and these are really gonna come out great. So when people grab them, they get one that really has kind of everything to it. All right, these bad boys into the broiler. Now, keep an eye on them because those skins have already been fried. They can go really fast. Oh, looks dynamite. Sprinkle that on the top. Then, like you do in an Italian style, gotta have some salami. Say Julienne-Up some salami. Some green onions, some nice color in there. Of course, some basil. A little Italian parsley. And for some of that fresh bite, how about a little bit of pepperoncini that's diced up? Oh, excellent.
I've got some cooked shrimp that I bought at the supermarket. The tails were off. They were already peeled. Now that is my kind of cooking right there. I'm just chopping them into little bits, and that looks great. So this goes into a bowl. I'm gonna marinate the shrimp, and it's gonna make it super flavorful for the nachos. Now, of course, I've gotta add a bunch of other stuff. I have some diced jicama, which is like a Mexican turnip. I don't use jicama very often, but it is so cool and refreshing and crisp. I love it. I'm also adding some diced mango. You can use fresh mango, or you can buy the mango in jars. It's a little bit sweeter. I really like that mango, especially for mango margaritas. I'm adding some sliced green onion and jarred pimento, super simple ingredient. You can also use diced red bell pepper, and then some cilantro leaves. All right, so that's the shrimp mixture. Now I'm gonna make the marinade, which is really easy. It's just half a cup of olive oil. And to the olive oil, I'll add a couple of tablespoons of honey, and then 2 citrus juices, some orange juice and lime juice. I also zested the lime before I juiced it with salt and pepper, and then green hot sauce, sometimes called jalapeno hot sauce. I'll pour this over the shrimp. I may not need all of this, so I can save what's left over for a salad tomorrow. It's a really nice dressing. Oh, it's so pretty. So I'll cover the bowl, and I'll get this into the fridge, and it'll marinate slowly until party time when I assemble the nachos. So now I'll assemble the citrus shrimp nachos. I have some really nice tortilla chips. They're round. They're pretty substantial. You don't want to get a super thin chip. And I'm gonna give this beautiful shrimp mixture a stir. So I'll get a spoonful of the mixture and pile it right on top. Then I have some crumbled cotija cheese, which is sort of a Mexican version of feta cheese. And I'll add a few crumbles. And then I'll grab a little cilantro leaf and put it on top. Gorgeous. So gorgeous, in fact, I'm gonna make a whole platter of these.
I am taking my food to the next level with my Cubano nachos.
Oh.
Yeah, get it, Miami, you know?
Miami, Cubano, great flavors.
We're just talking about them this year, let me tell you.
Yeah, so here's what we're gonna do. GZ,
Yes.
I'm gonna work on the pickle part. Cubano is a sandwich. It's got 2 kinds of pork. You got some cheese in there, like Swiss or something like that. And then you've got some mustard, and some pickles. So GZ, if you don't mind, this is gonna be kind of like a topping of a red jalapeno. Leave the seeds in. I've got some pickled jalapenos chopped and dill spears chopped as well.
All mixed.
Okay.
And then Jeff, you're gonna help me with the meat part. So we've got some deli ham, and then we've got some roasted pork that's a little bit under because we're gonna cook it twice. So in your pot here, your pan, you're gonna add the beer, the yellow mustard, and you're gonna rip up this meat into like little shreds and stuff like that and add both of them to the pot and just saute. Add a little pepper.
Great. Just rip them up. You want any oil in here, and then the meat first, and then the beer and all that?
Not necessarily. A little bit of fat's already in that pork, and it'll render out if you throw some beer down. Now, in my pot here, I'm gonna make the most simple beer cheese sauce ever with just 3 ingredients. And really, you don't need the one, but I like it because it works really well with this recipe. It's just gonna be cheese and beer. That's it.
It's a beer cheese.
Yeah, beer cheese sauce. So I add a little bit. You like that?
That beer is
So you're gonna preheat your pot. Got a little bit of pepper jack cheese.
The beer's okay.
And some Swiss cheese. Thanks for checking that.
You got it, you know.
And this is a whisk game. Away from you, so you don't splatter too much.
Yeah, please.
Then a little bit more cheese. And then that third ingredient I was telling you that's kind of like, a little bit superfluous, is a little bit of seasoning blend. That's good for like chicken or meat or whatever. What are you guys doing behind
Sorry,
me?
he threw me a whisk. I almost got caught in your
This in my hair?
in your dew.
Don't mess with the wig.
No, we don't. Wasn't even about to begin.
If you just get your go-go gadget elbow and whisk in here, you can, it's a cartoon from the 80s.
So this is almost like what? It's just like all the meat combined with beer and cooked down mustard and beer.
Yeah,
so
I'm
it's
trying
like
to bring all the
ground
flavors.
beef kind of like you would, but with pork and mustard.
That's right. All right, so I've got the chips in the oven. They're getting warm. Yeah, if you can get those for me, GZ. They're in the oven at about 150, 175. As low as your oven will go, just warm them up. And see, look how this cheese sauce comes together.
Dude, that is bananas.
Just beer and cheese.
And
your go-go gadget whisk. Now, also, you know a lot of times we say here, shred it from the block, shred it from the block. Don't shred this from the block. Get this out of that bag that's got that anti-caking agent on it, because that allows you to stir it into the beer and really not have a lot of liquid left over. It really combines with it.
So I love these Cubano flavors done in different, different vehicles,
different way.
if you will.
Yeah.
Well, because it's like the mustard, the pickle, the pork, the cheese, but on a big plate of nachos.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
Exactly. Pass me some pepper.
Pepper.
I'll crack some into this cheese sauce here. Yeah, I'll take it. Thank you.
This is easy. It
Yes,
comes
chef.
together so quick.
It does. It really, really does.
I'm ready.
All right,
Meat
let me bring
is
this
ready.
over
This is
here.
exciting, Sonny.
Yeah, got it.
Sorry. Oh, that might be hot. Be careful. I don't
got
want you to
asbestos
burn
hands.
yourself. Oh, man.
Now, also, I'm breaking some rules here, guys, because usually we talk about layers of the nachos and creating different layers, so you've got everything throughout. But I actually do love those bottom nachos that are kind of dry that you pull up and you use as your bottom planks for everything. So you got
so
some soggy,
scientific.
yeah. You got a little different textures going on here.
I say this, nachos is a snowflake of food.
That's
no
right.
two are the same.
That's right. If you're anti-beer, you could just do some stock. That'll work as well.
Totally.
And then,
Oh, here comes.
you just
Here
come
comes
through
my favorite
with
thing.
this cheese sauce.
The cheese. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Oh.
Should I do the pickles?
You know it, GZ. Get it off.
I knew I was here for a reason.
This is a perfect halftime too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you want to do it hot and they pour the cheese over and then everybody's
right.
kind of waiting around.
Look at that. So this is just basically, remember, the red jalapeno chopped up. Leave the seeds in. It's not going to blow the lid off of your guests. Spears. 2 dill spears. Just chop them up. And then some pickled
exhausting.
jalapeno slices that you chop.
I'm exhausted.
Hold on. I'll be over here, guys. Yeah.
Oh, man. I got to tell you, Sonny. It's everything I love about a Cubano on a chip. This is so good. The spice, the tang from the pickle. I taste the mustard in the meat. Look at cheeses hanging from everywhere.
Fajita nachos are just like fajitas, but in nacho form. So I've been prepping the veggies. I've just got onions and 2 colors of bell pepper. I'll let those sit. I've got a big, beautiful beef flank steak, and it's been marinating. Bryce and I won't need the whole thing. The great thing is, it stays really good in the fridge, so I can use it for all sorts of things later. Okay, this is a really hot grill, and it's gonna cook about 4 minutes aside. And while it does, I'll tell you what this delicious marinade is all about. I poured olive oil into the food processor, added lime juice, whole canned chipotle peppers with a little bit of the sauce, and a handful of cilantro. Gave it a quick blend, and the marinade was ready. I poured it over the flank steak, sealed the bag, smushed it around to make sure it was coated, and put it in the fridge for 24 hours. When it comes to fajitas, it does not get any tastier than this marinade. I've made it for years. Okay, gonna turn this beautiful flank steak. Look at those grill marks. Okay, the flank steak needs to keep cooking, so I'll start cooking the veggies. I've got a separate skillet. I'll drizzle in some olive oil. I'm gonna throw in the onions and peppers. You can use green bell pepper, orange bell pepper. You can throw some poblanos or jalapenos into the mix. I wanna season up the veggies just a little bit, so I have a jar of taco seasoning ready to go. And salt and pepper. That's pretty much all the veggies need. I'm gonna keep things simple for Bryce and me. This steak is ready to come off the grill pan. It smells so good. That marinade has a little bit of spice to it, so it's gonna be just right for nachos. Now I've got chips. I like to use a little bit more of an authentic tortilla chip when I make nachos, just so they're nice and sturdy and hold together. Now I'm gonna put the veggies on first, and they're all done. They have some great color. Okay, that's a good amount of veggies. I've got 2 kinds of cheese, grated sharp cheddar and grated Monterey Jack. Truth be told, I could make nachos with just Jack cheese. It is the best cheese to use for nachos or quesadillas, anything where you want the cheese to be really melty and nice. I would have just a few more veggies on top, just so you see that gorgeous color. Okay, now to melt all this cheese, I'm gonna put the plate right into a 350-degree oven for just 2 or 3 minutes. I'm gonna put the steak on after the nachos come out of the oven. That way it won't lose its beautiful medium rareness. Oh yeah. Please be careful, sir. The platter is very hot. Here, grab some steak and help me put it on. Grab a handful. That looks good enough to eat.
All right, let's put some toppings on.
Sounds good. What do you like? Here's pico de gallo.
I like all things that are good.
Here I go. It's nice just to share nachos with 2 people.
I'm putting together a loaded version of 2 of my favorite apps combined, my waffle fry nachos. They're covered in cheesy goodness. And I make them right before the party so that everything stays hot and fresh. To get started, I've crisped up some sweet potato waffle fries in my oven. I've got my cheese, my Fresno chilies, and refried pinto beans. And I'll just dollop the beans all over the fries. And these refried beans will add decadence and creaminess. I can't wait to eat these. Next, I'll add my cheese. And I'm using American cheese here because it gets ooey and gooey, and it adds that flavor of nostalgia. I secretly love it. I'll get this back into the oven so that it can melt. It'll only take a few minutes. And in the meantime, I'll slice up my chilies. Fresnos are nice because they're milder than jalapenos, and I love that pop of red color. I'll slice my scallions. Okay, I'll chop up some fresh cilantro. I think I'm smelling that cheese. Let me check on the fries. Oh, yes. Look at this blanket of melty cheese. I could eat them just like this. But first I have to dress them up for the party. I have sour cream for creaminess and tang. Next I'll sprinkle on the chilies. And next the scallions. Some olives, which will add nice brininess. Sriracha, which adds that zippy heat. And lastly, just make it rain cilantro. Here I go in for a taste. Look how cheesy that is. Here I go. The combination of the sweet potato fries and the cheese and all these gorgeous toppings is perfection.
It's the weekend of Pawhuska's homecoming, and this afternoon is the big homecoming parade. Now, Lad and the boys are actually riding on floats in the parade, and I'm gonna head in there pretty soon. I'm gonna make the foundation for a snack they can have after the parade, a big batch of chicken nachos. The boys love chicken nachos, and it's just the thing for football season. I've got 4 chicken breasts, and I'm just seasoning them really well with some taco seasoning and some chili powder. Makes them really spicy. And it's great because the taco seasoning has salt in it, so you really don't need to add extra salt at all. I want the chicken to be as flavorful as possible. The sauce is actually gonna come from what I put on the chicken, so I really wanna lay it on thick. I love chili powder because whatever you add it to becomes the most amazing color, and it's nice and spicy, and that's something my family loves. Now, I've got a skillet with some olive oil that I've been heating, and I'll just get the chicken in. Now, I'm just gonna cook the chicken for about 10 minutes total, turning it halfway through, and then I'll move forward with the delicious sauce. The chicken is fully cooked and it looks and smells amazing. I'll just take it out and get it on the board. And I'm gonna make a sauce for the chicken right in the same skillet. I'll just pour in some water, probably 1.5 to 2 cups. And to help it along, I'll pour in just a little bit of tomato sauce. And then I'll just whisk this together and let this boil up and come together. I love chicken nachos. Well, I love nachos, period. But chicken nachos are a real treat. Shredded chicken with a delicious sauce on it, smothered in cheese, on top of chips. I'm already hungry for them. Now, the chili powder and the taco seasoning add plenty of spice, but that's never enough for me. So I'm gonna add just a little bit of my favorite hot sauce, just to make sure it's got a nice zip to it. Okay, that's looking good, so I'll let that simmer and heat up. And while that happens, I need to shred all of this chicken. And I'll just use 2 forks and go right in with it. There is nothing like football season. And really, there's nothing like football season in a small town like Pawhuska. It really is important around here. And homecoming weekend is pretty much the height of football season in a small town. The parade is a great way to kick it off. All the cheerleaders are there, the high school football players. So it's really fun to see the whole of Pawhuska football represented. Chicken nachos are definitely one of Lad's favorites, so he's gonna be excited when he gets home after the parade. I think shredded chicken is so great on nachos or in any Mexican food. Okay, the sauce looks amazing, it smells divine. So I'm just gonna plunk the chicken right into the sauce, and then I'll just simmer it for a few minutes. Then I'll let it cool, pop it in the fridge, and I'm gonna head into the parade. Getting that chicken ready will be a big time saver later. Now, I'm actually gonna do 2 versions of nachos, one for the boys and a more embellished one for the girls. They both start exactly the same. A pile of tortilla chips, and then a generous amount of grated cheddar jack cheese. After that comes a layer of the delicious chicken. Then I'll build 2 more layers just like that. Chips, cheese, chicken, and then I'll end with a final sprinkling of cheese. They go into the oven at 350 until the cheese is nice and melted, and that's where the similarities end. Now the boys will eat the nachos just as they are, but I like to add a few more delicious ingredients. Jarred jalapenos, chopped tomatoes, a sprinkling of black olives, sliced green onions, and a dollop of sour cream. To me, that's what chicken nachos are all about.
Let's make fresh crab nachos. So I've already grated some Monterey Jack, which is kind of classic for nachos, but I'm gonna add sharp cheddar, and I just think it adds layers of flavor that are really great. And you'll see how fast it is to grate it like this. A whole lot faster than a box grater, right? Okay, so next the crab meat mixture. So I'm gonna make a creamy crab meat mixture, and starting with 6 ounces of room temperature cream cheese. And adding about 1/2 cup of mayonnaise, 1/4 cup of sour cream. I'm just gonna mash it together. This is gonna become the crab meat mixture that's gonna go in the chips, along with the cheese. Okay, lots of flavorings. Scallions, green chilies, fresh lime zest. The lime zest just gives it a little edge, which I love. Okay, and then the last thing I'm gonna put in is crab meat, 16 ounces of lump crab meat. Sometimes you get crab meat that's like shredded, and it's, I mean, it's perfectly delicious, but you don't have that kind of bite of crab meat. Okay, lots of salt and pepper. Make sure it has great flavor. And pepper. I have to say, these are my favorite nachos ever. Time to build the nachos. I'm gonna do it in 2 layers. You'll see how I do it. Got chips, and then half the crab meat mixture on top. Okay, lots of cheese, if I can get it off. So remember, this is Monterey Jack and sharp cheddar together. And then pickled jalapenos. Just spread them out so everybody gets some. Okay, another layer of chips. Okay, more crab meat. I have to say, people go crazy when I serve this. It's just so, I don't know, there's something so communal about it, and it's so delicious. Okay, and then more cheese. Everything's better with more cheese, right? Okay, into the oven, 375 degrees for 25 minutes, and in the meantime, I'm gonna make a salsa topping for it. Here goes. First, 5 large plum tomatoes, seeded, cored, and small diced. Then 1 cup of minced yellow onion, 3 tablespoons of minced fresh jalapeno pepper, seeds removed, 2 tablespoons of freshly squeezed lime juice to offset the spice, 1 tablespoon of good olive oil, a large ripe Hass avocado, pitted, peeled, and 1/3 inch diced, 3 tablespoons of minced parsley. If you use cilantro, I don't want to know about it. Then 1 teaspoon of salt. I'll stir it all together, and that's it. Oh, this is one big pan of gorgeousness. Wow. Okay, I'm just gonna put the salsa on top. Just sprinkle it over. And I love that hot and cold thing going on at the same time. I mean, just think of all the flavors in this. It's just fabulous. Perfect. And then one more thing. Squeeze of fresh lime juice. This is good. How pretty is this? And I would say fresh crab nachos is one of the most comforting appetizers I know.
You can't get any better than nacho cheese casserole. It's one of those dinners that completely disappears. There is never a crumb left. I'm starting with the sauce for the casserole. I added some vegetable oil to a skillet, and I'm adding some flour I'm just gonna make a little bit of a roux, and that'll help it be a nice, thick, rich sauce. I'm gonna whisk it just for a minute until the roux starts to turn a light golden brown. So now I'll add some liquid, 3 cups of low sodium chicken broth. And this was so hot that that roux is already gonna thicken this liquid up. I'm making 2 casseroles out of this deal, so I wanna have a lot of sauce. Now to this mixture, I'm gonna add 2 cans of enchilada sauce. One of them is just a standard can, 10 ounces, and the other one is a large can, 28 ounces. And now I'll stir this up. And I want to give it a little seasoning with half a teaspoon of ground cumin. I don't want it to be too strong, and the flavor of the chips I'm going to use is very strong. So just a little cumin is all I need. Okay, I need to give the sauce a little time to heat and thicken up, so I'll add the meat to a separate skillet. I've got 3 pounds of ground beef, and it goes right in, along with some finely diced onion. Of course, some minced garlic has to show up, and I'll break this all up. I just need to cook the meat until it's brown. And I'm gonna make a cheese mixture for the casserole. Very simple, just a bunch of grated sharp cheddar. And I'm also using some pepper jack cheese. The sauce is done. So I'm gonna pour the sauce into the meat, just make it all one big mixture. First, I'll put a layer of crushed nacho chips into the pans. They each get a layer of the beef mixture. Then comes the cheese, more chips, more beef, even more cheese, a final layer of chips, and you guessed it, more cheese. Now this one's for dinner tonight. Let me tell you how it's gonna play out. I'll cover the pan in foil and bake it at 350 degrees for 25 minutes. Then I'll take off the foil, give it another 15 minutes, then take it out and top it with shredded romaine lettuce, diced Roma tomatoes, some sour cream, sliced black olives, and sliced green onions. Then with all the fixins piled on top, I'll spoon out a big helping and put it on a plate for dinner. How good is that gonna be? And what about this pan, you ask? I'm gonna cover it with foil, and I'll pop it in the freezer, and it'll be all ready for another day.